What's up, dudes? Welcome back. Today we are going to be looking at Linux file management in the command line. Obviously you got to use the command line in Linux quite a bit, and file management is no exception, and it is a lot easier and a lot faster once you learn how to do it, as opposed to using the graphical user interface. So you could always go in here, right click, create files, yada yada yada, but once you learn how to use the command line, it's a lot faster and you can do a lot more things with it. So first off, if you haven't joined me up to this point, we use ls to list the contents of a directory. A directory is just a file. So if we do ls, we can see that there's desktop documents, downloads, music, all of these directories within our home directory. The directory that we are currently in is /home/Kali, and if we open up our GUI, we can see here that we've got our documents, download, music, pictures, whatever. So ls just lists the contents of a directory. Now say we want to create a new directory so we can kind of play around and put some files into it. Well, the way that we do that is mkdir, and that stands for make directory, and you can see that I've actually done this before with the please sub directory, but we'll do something different. We'll do something like sub please, right? Okay, so we can create the sub please directory. And if we ls, we can actually see that the subplease directory is now in our home directory, which is cool. And if we even open this up, we can see here that the subplease directory has been added to our GUI. In order to hop into that directory, we need to cd into it. And what I did there, you can see that I didn't type the whole command. I just I did a tab completion. So if I do cd ... to bump back up into our previous directory, which is our home directory, of course, all I did was cd and then I typed sub, and since there are no other directories or files that start with the word sub, Linux knows that Linux knows that that's the only option, so I can press tab and it will complete it for me, and then I can just press enter, and now I am in the subplease directory, but there is nothing in here. So real quick, say we didn't name this correctly or whatever and we want to get rid of it, we can use rmdir to remove it. So we can do remove directory subplease, and notice that there's no confirmation. Windows will give you a confirmation if you want to delete a file or a folder. It doesn't happen here, and this is gone. There's no wastebasket or anything. There actually might be a wastebasket for the rmdir directory or for the rmdir command, but I don't see one. Just assume that it's gone, especially with the rm command, which we're going to go over in a minute. Those files are gone, and you won't get a confirmation as to whether or not you actually want to delete the files. So these are things that you really need to be careful when you're using them. So as you can see, we removed the subplease directory. It's no longer here. That is how you remove an empty directory. But if you go ahead and create it again, and then we're going to go into the subplease directory. There's nothing in here right now, so we could delete it with the rmdir directory. But if we put something in here, so the way that we create a file is by using the touch command. So we'll do please like, and if we ls now, we have the please like file. And if we try to cat the command, or cat the file, which cat just means to read the file, if we try to cat, it's not going to have anything in there because it's an empty file. but we do have something in this directory now. So if we try to go back up, and then we can see that it's in here, the subplease directory. If we try to remove the directory now, it's not going to allow us to. It says failed to remove, directory is not empty. So how do we remove a non-empty directory? Because we don't want to go in there, delete the file, come back out, and then remove it. Maybe we've got thousands of files in there and we don't want to go through, and maybe we have directories within directories. That we just don't want to go through all of those, right? So the way that we remove that is with the rm command, which stands for remove, but then we're going to tack on. So the dash or tack means that you are adding options to the command. So if we tried the rm command just plain and we did the subplease directory, it wouldn't work because it's a directory. And the rm command is used for files. But if we use the rm command with the -r option, the -r option means recursive. And what recursive means is it will go through the directory and it will delete everything within the directory as well as the directory itself. So if we want to remove a directory that has stuff in it, we need to use the -r command or -r option, and then we also need to do we need to add f to it, which means force. So we could do this and this would work just fine, but when you're adding multiple options to a command in Linux, you can actually just do the one dash and then add it here like this, just right on the end. So either one of these will work. You can use whatever one suits your style, but this is going to be the easiest way to and the quickest way to type it. But one thing that you really need to know is this will delete everything that is in that file, and whatever file you specify here. So if I do the subplease folder, it's gone. And the file within the folder is also gone. One very, very, very important thing to remember about the rm command and anything that you're using to delete files is if you type sudo and then rm-rf, this will remove literally anything from your system. So if I did this, now I'm not going to hit enter. This is like holding a loaded gun to your head and not pulling the trigger. This will, if I were to hit enter right now, this would delete my entire file system from the root directory all the way down. It would go through and recursively delete every file on my computer. Now, obviously, this is a virtual machine, so it wouldn't really be that big of a deal. I could just reinstall it. But the important lesson here is that you could do this. You could remove every single file with a single command and completely break your computer to the point where you have to reinstall the operating system completely. So very, very powerful stuff there. Make sure that you are using the correct syntax when you are using rm, especially if you're using the rf tack on there. You definitely want to double and triple check anything that you're running on those commands, because it could cause a lot of damage. So yeah, let's go ahead and create the subplease directory again, and we'll cd into it. And we don't have anything in here right now. Let's go ahead and recreate our file here. So now we've got the please-like file, and there's a few things that we can do with the file. For example, we can get more information about the file. We can use something like ls-l, and -l stands for long, which means it's going to give us the long output. So ls, as we know, lists the contents of a directory. In this case, we only have this file, but the -l command or option also will list the permissions that the file has, the group or the user and the group that it's in, the size of the file, the time that it was modified, and the name of the file, obviously. So there's a lot of information here that you can get from using the -l command, and we'll go over a little bit in another video about specific permissions and users and groups and all of that stuff. But the important thing to know now is that you can get quite a bit of information from this. Same goes for the -a command. If you have a file that is hidden, so say let's go ahead and create another thing here. So if we create another file, but we begin the file name with a dot, say dot smash that like button, if we ls now, it's not going to show up. The dot file, it's here, but in Linux, if there's a dot in front of it, ls will ignore the fact that that file exists. So the only way to see that is with the ls-a command, and you can see here that now smash that like button is present within our directory. And we can combine these. Remember, I did say that you can do multiple options, and here we can do LA instead of just the L or just the A, and we can see both files and all of the information about those files. Let's see. So we got that. ls-F will also give you some information, I think. Doesn't look like it gives you any more information. All right, ignore that one. We'll go over that one later after I do a little bit more research on it. Anyway, we've got our please like, and we've also got our other one. What if we want to rename please like because we don't like the name of it? We can do that with the mv command. Mv stands for move, and this command actually has two uses. You can rename files with it, and you can also move files. So if we wanted to say we didn't want the Z on please like, we wanted an S instead. So we need to specify the file that we want to move or rename first, and then the name that we want to change it to. So we'll change the Z to an S, and now if we ls, we can see that the name of the file has changed. We can also move files around. So if I want to make another directory within this directory, we'll just call this one test. So now we've got another directory within this one. We can cd into it. There's nothing in it, obviously. We'll go back and let's move the please like file into the test directory. So we're going to do move please like and then the name of the directory this time. So this won't rename please like to test. This will actually move it into the test directory. So if this directory didn't exist, it would rename it to test, but since the directory exists, then it's going to move it. So now we can see that only the test directory is within this, so we can cd into it, and the please like file is in there now. So two uses for the mv command, renaming and also moving. Say we didn't only want to move it, we actually wanted to copy that. We could use the cp command, which stands for copy. So I'm going to clear this. Currently we are in the subplease directory with the test subdirectory, so we're going to cd into the test subdirectory since that's where our file is that we want to copy, and then we will type cp, name of the file, and the destination to which we would like to copy it. So in this case, we want to copy it one directory up from where we currently are, right? So what we need to do is we need to use a relative path, meaning that, well, we could do it in two ways. We could use the direct path, which would mean that we have to do /home/cali/ subplease. So we could do that and it would copy it, but we don't always want to type out the full path. It's kind of annoying, especially if you're real far down in the file system, right? So in order to use a relative path, we can actually just use a dot dot. And a dot dot means one directory up. So if we do this, it should, obviously we've still got our one here, but if we do cd ... and we ls, we can see that it actually copied our file up into our subplease directory. So the ... is a very, very useful relative path command, and one that you'll find yourself using a lot. So let's go ahead and clear this again. We did go over the rm command, but we didn't actually do it on a file, so we'll do it on this file. So we can do rm and then please like, and you'll notice that in contrast from last time, we didn't have to do the rm-rf, because the -r is for recursive, which means you're removing a directory, and this is not a directory. And the f, we didn't need to force it. F, you need to force it when you're doing a directory. That's just a quirk of the Linux file system. So yeah, you can just use rm and then the name of the file if you're just doing a file. And then last but not least, this isn't really file management focused per se, but it is something that you're going to be using a lot in Linux, and that is the echo command. And all the echo command does here, I'll go ahead and clear. All the echo command does is it echoes back what you type. So if you type hello, it'll just echo back hello. And this may seem like it's really useless, right? All it does is echo back whatever you type in it. But the cool thing about echo is that it will evaluate variables. So we'll go over these later, but one thing that is a thing in Linux is something called environment variables, and these are variables that are always present on your system. So if you want to say check out what the current path is, right, and we'll go over path and everything later, but say you want to know what the path variable is, you can do echo, and then you can echo the path. But if you just try path here, it's just going to say path. The way that you specify a variable in Linux is the $. So if I do echo $path here, it will evaluate the variable and spit out whatever is assigned to the environment variable. In this case, you can see that it's, kind of a long string, but if I scroll up here, we can actually see that it is the same. So yeah, if that's confusing, I know that it isn't terribly clear what environment variables are if you're new, and that's totally okay. I just used that as an illustration of echo's versatility. So definitely, if you're confused by any of that, I'm sure that I have videos out by now that explain, path variable and environment variables and stuff like that. So feel free to go check those out. In the meantime, guys, take care, and until next time.